So hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug says, I don't give a sip. And I found this at Walmart with my daughter when we went to pick up a few things for an upcoming video. And I thought it was really cute. It was about $4. And so yeah, I went ahead and picked that up because I don't give a sip. I don't. Today's tea is from our July Sips By. It is the Harney and Sons Master Tea Blenders Mulled Plum Cider. And when I put up my Sips By opening, I did say this would be the first one I would try. And it is. Oh, it smells so good though. Okay, so it has not been steeping for very long, but here's hoping that it's got some real nice flavor to it anyway. It's working on it. I can taste what it could be. You definitely get kind of a fruity note to it. But I think it needs to steep a little longer and just really work on those flavors. So today I am going to be reviewing my basic Glam Bag, my Glam Bag Plus, and my Boxycharm from June. Now, I was originally only going to review the Glam Bag Plus and the Boxycharm, but I figured since we're doing the Glam Bag battles, me and my daughter, that this would help shorten those particular videos, and you would get all the reviews in one place, and that's to put it all together like that. It'll be much easier that way for those three particular boxes. Everything else will be the way it normally has been, but to make up for the fact that the other videos are getting longer, we are just going to go ahead and I am just going to go ahead and review those three bags in their own video. So hopefully that works out for everybody. So we're going to start with the regular basic bag with one exception, and that is the Tetris brushes, because I gave the brush that I got in my bag, I believe, to my daughter. If not, it went into the Project Beauty Share, because I went ahead and picked up the set of 5 as an add-on to my Plus, I believe it was. I do like these brushes. I do wish that there was actually a flat shader brush. These are all, with the exception of the liner brow brush and this particular brush, the other three for the eye are very fluffy, as you can see. So I really wish there was like a flat shader brush similar to something like this, just a plain simple flat shader brush, because 2 of these are actually pretty close to the same. They're just round fluffy brushes. One's just bigger than the other. Beyond that, however, I really like them. They're sturdy. I've had no shedding, no flyaways. They pick up color well. They place color well. I'm using them almost every day. The exception would be these 2. I did try to use this for eyelining, and honestly, this, let me set these down. Honestly, this is a little too wide. I don't know if you can see that, but it is very, very wide compared to what I normally use for doing my eyes. This one is definitely too wide for that. It does work for brows for me, because I do not need thin hair-like brow application, so that doesn't bother me at all. I've gotten a couple of these, and I'm honestly not quite sure what they're for. Currently, I use them for under the eye sometimes, or I put them in the corner sometimes, but in general, this is probably the one that gets the least amount of use for me. But overall, I do like the brushes. Now, there were a few people who thought they felt cheap, but to me, they feel like a Luxie brush. They're sturdy. I'm not feeling any wiggle. I've had, like I said, I've had no flyaways. I've had no issues with losing hairs. I've had no issue with anything like that. So, and they blend really well. Like I said, I use them almost every day at this point. So, a really good brush set. I'm very excited to have this brush set. So next we have the Hey Honey Sweet Treat Wild Berry and Honey Yogurt Recovery Mask. There is the packaging. My lights are so bright. There we go. It's very, very loose. It comes out kind of a pale pinkish color. It does smooth out easily. This is a very soothing on application. It's like applying a cooling lotion more than a mask, actually. And it has a pleasant, light, sweet scent. I'd say it's almost like berries. It's just so light, it's hard to tell. It does dry down, it rinses off easily. You still feel some cooling then too. Unfortunately, when I rinsed, it didn't feel like it really did anything to my skin. Skin was smoother, but not really moisturized. My radiant pad came up slightly discolored. I'm not particularly pressed, so don't have any plans to repurchase, but I will try to finish this one up. It's not horrible. I just don't think it really does anything, at least for my skin. So this is the Vital 12 Jelly Cleanser. It is actually distributed by Tony Moly. I like the feel of this on my skin when I apply it and lather it up. Come on. It is definitely a jelly, more than I would say a gel, and it does have a nice, really creamy lather when it lathers up on the skin. It's going to lather up on that mask that I put on there, so you can see some of the lather there. So that feels really good. It left my skin smooth but a bit dry the first time, which is a bit concerning, especially since my cheeks tend to be dry anyway. And the more I used it, the more I noticed this dryness. So I'm more than likely going to give this to my oldest daughter and let her go ahead and finish it up. For me, I have enough cleansers that I don't need to keep using something that's going to be drying on my skin. Next, I have the Sugar Blush that came in this little packet. My daughter got the highlighter. I don't know how she feels about it. This is what the inside looks like. And here's what the blush looks like. I am wearing it today underneath that highlighter, which is coming up a bit better than I thought it would, but anyway, I'm wearing it today. This is a light flush kind of blush, but it is buildable and it works best with a stiff bristled brush. I use this brush today, but also these really dense. This is my Sephora bronzer brush. I don't know if they even have this one anymore. I got it like 3 years ago. But it's got a really dense pack, and it's really kind of on the stiffer side. So it works really well with these kind of brushes, and it's a beautiful color, so I will be keeping this. I do like their packaging. I do think that that's cute, that they have the sugar there, and then they have the girl on the inside. I think that is cute. And this was a full-size product. And then last was this black volume cream. This it says water capping system. I had to do some hunting down to see what this was supposed to be. But as you can see, it's sort of a grayish jelly type thing. It is actually it was actually referred to as a moisturizer, so I used it that way. When they say water capping, that gel does start to feel a little bit like water when you rub it out on your skin like that. And then it starts to smooth in, kind of like a lotion or a moisturizer would. But initially, when it comes on, it's like a gel. You rub it a little bit, it starts to feel more like water, and then it starts to feel like a moisturizer. You need very little of it, and it initially left my skin feeling a bit tacky. I tried with less of my usual skincare, and it was still tacky. It never quite soaked in on my skin, and it never felt less tacky. So when I use new skincare, I usually use it at night. So I'll put it on at night, and in the morning, I was still tacky. You know, 6 to 8 hours later, I was still had that tackiness on my skin, and it never made my skin feel moisturized. So this is a no for me. I'm not even going to finish this. So last month's bag, unfortunately, I've got one item that was fairly decent, and that was the blush. I had the brush, which I enjoyed, but I have in a different set. And then I have one that's kind of like, whatever, I'm going to use it, but it's just whatever. And, yeah. And then I have the 2 items that just really didn't work. So for me, last month's bag was not as good as some of the ones in the past have been. None of the skincare items really did anything for me, and that was the bulk of the bag. So, wasn't impressed. All right, so that was the small Ipsy bag. And of course, as you know, the actual bag went into the Project Beauty Share box. So next we're going to get into my Glam Bag Plus. So let's start with the Apto Skincare Healing Turmeric Healing Mask. This is, seriously, when they say don't leave this on your skin too long, they mean it. Turmeric has a tendency to stain. It is bright yellow and it will stain. And as you can see, there's the packaging for the mask. And there's the actual product on the back of my hand. So yes, it is very, very yellow. And if you leave it on your skin too long, it will stain your skin. So you do not want to leave it on any longer than what they tell you to leave it on. It is really yellow, obviously, since I showed you. It is really thick, but it goes on very thinly with a brush. It is cooling, but also there's a bit of a sting. If you've tried some of those charcoal clay masks, you'll get that. It's not a burning, but it's kind of like a sting on your skin that tells you it's working. You get that with this. I got it in a few places, and apparently this is normal by what they tell you on the back of the packaging. Needed very little of it to cover my face, so this is going to last a while. The skin was a bit red and sensitive when washed off. Again, apparently very normal with this mask, but it was smooth. The only spots that felt dry at all were my cheeks. I did have some yellow staining on my radiance pad, and that was after using my the sponge that I used to remove masks. I use a porous sponge specifically to remove masks off my face, so I don't have to get it into my washcloth. I don't have to change washcloths. I just use this little sponge. So after using the sponge and making sure to scrub down my skin and then using a washcloth to back that up, I still had some yellow on the radiance pad. So cleaning it all off is a bit of a challenge. Face was still stinging and sensitive 20 minutes later, mostly in areas where I tend to have issues. So around my nose, in this area around here, in this area around here. I think I haven't had too many problems in my area. So it's all right below my eyes, my nose, my chin area, right in there. I have occasional issues in those places. I have issues in the under eyes sometimes. So those areas still stung a little bit after it was washed off, and 20 minutes later. The next morning my skin was fine, however, and some of my problem areas actually felt better than they did before I put on the mask. All of that said, I think this is a mask I'd use once a week at most because you don't want to irritate your skin that much. This kind of reminds me a little bit of a peel, I guess, in a way. It doesn't quite have the scrubbing particles of, say, the L'Oreal Red Algae mask that has little particles in it that helps get rid of my melia that I get in here sometimes. But it does have that exfoliating type scent that where it's getting rid of stuff on your skin that you don't need there. I do think it's a good mask. I just think it's a mask you have to be cautious using. So the next thing is that 311, 111, whatever skin vitamin C brightening booster. That's what the packaging of that. Oh Lord, phone, come on. That's what the packaging of that looks like. It is a dropper, and it is a kind of a watery consistency. It doesn't feel like an oil really. It has no color really to it. A little bit goes a long way. It's rubbing in really nicely in my hand. I haven't used this much, and there's a couple different reasons for that. First of all, I find that this applies easier over my skin first. But when I put this over my skin first, the other skincare that I would use after a serum seems to have a more difficult time getting through, I think. And secondly, I'm actually trying another vitamin C product, and I don't want to use two at the same time. So I will probably go back, because I used this a couple times and then I stopped for the Sunday Riley. And then, so I will probably go back to this after the 2 or 3 weeks with the Sunday Riley and see if this makes any improvements on my skin. But I'm honestly, I'm more puzzled by this than anything. This is $180. This. Now, on the advantage of that, you don't need much. Maybe 4 little droplets of it. That's all you need for your face. So the bottle should last for a very, very long time, except vitamin C doesn't last that long. So, yeah, even if this was like a miracle for my skin, I would never, ever purchase this again. So, let's go with what I did discover about it. And anyway, knowing that I would never repurchase it. I found that it doesn't spread easily over other products. So if you use it first before anything else, it spreads okay. Later, using moisturizer, etc., that has worked for me in past, my skin has felt oily after using this, especially in my T-zone. And there was what felt like a layer over my skin. So like I said, you use this first. The other items I'm finding do not absorb as easily. So in the morning, instead of having them absorbed in my skin the way they normally would be, I'm feeling like I got a layer on my skin. One day I didn't wash my face when I woke up, and by the end of that day, my skin did not feel greasy or oily. So maybe I need longer than 12 hours for it to, 10 hours for it to absorb. So this might go to my daughter. It's just going to depend on when I do finally start testing it, how I feel about it. But regardless, $180. No. The Sunday Riley at $65 is bad enough, guys. No. Next, I have the Trestique lip pencil. This is dry. This is really dry. It's pigmented. I will agree with that. It's very pigmented. I am wearing it today. But I find that it's even over my lip primer I use, which is very soothing and creamy and smooth on my lips. Even over that, this is really, really dry. It's very pigmented when it comes off. There's no patchiness. The color is a little paler on me than what is expected. If you take a look at this pencil, the pencil is darker than what it comes up on my skin. It's more pinkish than berry. I much prefer berries than to pinks. Like I said, I am wearing it. It's actually kind of in a combo on my lips, but I am wearing it. It does have this little gloss, but the little gloss really isn't all that. It does make the matte formula more comfortable. Overall, I'm not as impressed with this particular lip crayon as the gloss, I guess the glossy lip pencil I got from them. It's okay. It's not horrible. I'll keep it. I can use it as a color adjuster. And then we got the Suva Duo eyeliner duo. You will see that I have used this quite a bit. I have to say, I was really, really surprised. So first of all, this brush is not my thing. I don't, these little feather, no. I don't use these. This is going to go in my Project Beauty Share unless my daughter wants it. I prefer using those longer brushes like this, as long as they're thin enough. But beyond that, I don't use these. These are annoying. Just anyway, annoying. I might have less trouble with my wings if I use those, but yeah, no. But the actual eyeliner actually works a lot better than I thought it would. I am wearing this today. Now forgive any issues with my eyes, honestly. But if you look, the lining is great. It has beautiful dark color. I use setting spray. I do it much like I would do it with my eyeshadows, and I've had no problems. The color is dark. It stays in place for a good long while. It does not stand up to me tearing. But I don't expect that from this, honestly. I don't expect that from any eyeliner, to be honest. But this I want to keep and I will continue to use. But I like this enough to try other colors. Now, the reason it was a surprise to me is because I've had other colors. I had a gold. It was either sent by Yes Oh Yes or it was sent by Lola. And I'm aiming toward it being sent by Lola. But anyway, they sent a gold one. And that's before I knew about how to activate it, but I did read the instructions on how to activate it, and I just could not get that to show up on my eye. So when I got this, I was like, no, not again. But now that I've tried this one, I am actually interested in trying other colors as long as they're dark enough for my skin. Really like this. Honestly, this and the mask pretty much made the box for me, and yeah, between the two of these, this was $14, and I think that that is a really good price when you consider getting. Let's just look at drugstore stuff. Eyeliners, pencil eyeliners, and liquid line eyeliners will cost you anywhere from $6 to $10 more if it's like Physicians Formula or something. They'll cost $6 to $10, and you will get a lot less product than you're getting in this tub. So I would be willing to plunk down $14 on some other colors because I know that they would be around for a while. All right, so let's talk about the last things. I had two of these. Now, the one that came in my bag, in my box, was actually the Block Party one, which had a beautiful green in it, but it had more neutrals in it. I think it had the green and the blue, and that was it, and everything else was like in the neutral browns, which I don't wear much or use much, so I gave that one to my youngest daughter. But I did pick this one up as a bonus in my other bag, and I do find that they perform. I have used them both, and I do find that they perform fairly the same. These palettes are inconsistent at best. Most of the colors apply well, although you have a couple that don't sometimes. I've struggled with the blues on both of them, I believe. And they do look pretty once they're applied, but they do not withstand my inner eye at all. I mean, literally within my inner corner of my eye, literally within minutes they're gone. And some of them will repair well, but they absolutely will not stay. I do love the colors in this one. I have found a use for this particular brown, which is putting on my under eyes when I need to clean something up. It sounds strange, but this disappears into my skin enough that you don't really notice it. It's just like a brightness. It's almost like using a banana powder because of the color. It's a beautiful palette. It really is. That blue is on the drier side, unfortunately. Let's see if we can give you some swatches. So this is an okay palette. It is not one of the best palettes I've ever had, but it is a beautiful palette. So I'm going to keep this one, even though you know, it's middle of the road. They blend well, they have pigmentation, they're not patchy, they're just, the quality just isn't there despite those things, if that makes sense. So I'm keeping this for now. I am really happy with the Apto. I am really happy with the Suva. This is okay. The Trestique is okay. The palette is okay. And this is a question mark for me. So overall, I think my first Ipsy Bag Plus was pretty decent. It's not horrible. I actually think it beat out Boxycharm last month. I think this one did better than Boxycharm for me. So yeah, last month's Glam Bag Plus was my first plus, and I think that it was a decent bag. I swear, I love my cats, but there are days. Cat hair everywhere. So even though I pat off my brushes before I use them, cat hair. Moving on to Boxycharm last month. Boxycharm last month didn't do so well for me. I'll be honest with you. The value is there in general, but the value for me was not, as you'll see. So we're going to start off with the worst problem I had in the whole box, and that is the Tarte palette that came. I really, really, really wish I had gotten the face palette with the blushes and stuff in it. That I could have used. People do not believe me when I say that this shit disappears on my skin. This palette is absolutely useless to me. It has 2 colors, maybe 3, that are even remotely usable for me. And that would be these 3 right here. I did manage to use one of these lighter colors, and I think this one, in the upper part of my eye. But other than that, this is pointless. Pointless. I already know I like the Tarte formula. This is not a surprise in that way. It did surprise me that there is quite a bit of kickback even in the shimmer pans, which I don't have a problem with in the highlighter type palette that I have that can be used for highlight or for your eyes. But other than that, the quality fits what I know of Tarte quality. The mattes are actually decent in general. This is a little patchier than what I've seen in the past. I have a really big box full of really nice Tarte mattes. Tarte is the first one that got me to go that mattes might be okay. But so the quality here is there. They're decent, they're pigmented, they're blendable. So yeah, this is just gonna go to my daughter, and if she doesn't like it, it'll go to Project Beauty Share, because this ain't gonna work for me. I have to say, I sound really irritated, and I know, like I said, I know these things aren't always gonna be what you can use, but I have found that for most boxes, you get things that you can use that you really like, usually at least one. This box, I got things I can use, but I'm not particularly thrilled with any of them. So another one that I'm wearing today is the Steve Laurent Jelly Highlighter in Cotton Candy. I am wearing it. You can see it. It's a pain in the ass. This doesn't have much payoff in terms of highlight unless you use a finger, and even then, not much. I ended up having to use 3 different brushes to get this. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pretty color, but it just, like I said, it just doesn't give me as much payoff as, say, a pressed powder formula. It's a nice soft glow, but I don't particularly like the formula. Not impressed with the payoff. This is going to Project Beauty Share unless my daughter wants it. Again, I'll be handing that off to the side. So this one is more a product, and I used to be into these much softer glows. I would rather have slightly brighter than this, but I don't want to have to work as hard. And on this one, I do have to work to make it work. So yeah, this is going to my daughter as well. Another major no is the Touch in Soul No Poreblem Prime Essence. So I've tried this by itself. I have tried it mixed. I have not tried it very often because it made me itch. However, when by itself, it turned my favorite foundations dry and textured. It made me itch. I tried it mixed with my Primerizer, which seemed to help with it seemed to reduce the itching and reduce the texture, but it never got rid of it. It feels heavy on my skin. I did manage to wear it once all day. My foundation stayed, but I started breaking out that night and the next day. This is a no for all of the above reasons. So that's 3 things in the box so far that are just absolutely no, which leaves the last 2, which are, they're usable, but the lip liner. This is Dirty Little Secrets lip liner in the color Pale Pink. I'm not much of a pink person. This does work for what I need it to do. It does not show up on my skin very well, but it does work for what I need it to do, which is line my lips. I do not use lip liners like this for color. I use them for giving me a nice sharp edge. That's it. So it's fine. It's usable. I can keep it. Not thrilled with it. The color is just wrong for me. Like I said, I can use it. And finally, the gloss. The gloss is actually probably the most successful out of the box. This is Lemonade. I don't remember what the color was. Unless that's the color. Wait a minute. Nope, no color listed on the bottom, so for all I know, it's Lemonade. It's pink. It's pink. It doesn't really show up as pink. It has a slight pink cast. But it's, even though it's going to show up on my hand as pink, it's not enough of a pink. It doesn't have enough oomph to it to be a color adjuster. However, it has a nice shine. I'm wearing it today. I don't find it to be sticky. It works really well with dealing with like that one matte, the Trestique, deals really well with that, giving it shine, making it so I can use it either with other colors or by itself. But it doesn't work for color adjusting. I will keep it just so I have something in the box that actually works in the way I would use it. I guess the liner does too. But again, it's not anything I'm thrilled with. I'm not into pink. I'm just glad it's a shiny gloss. It worked on my face. Overall, Boxy last month was a waste of money. I don't care how much this and the lip liner cost. They were a waste of money. It was one of the first times. I've had disappointing boxes in the past. I don't think I've had a box disappoint me this much. It really was a waste of money. So in our Boxy versus Glam Bag Plus last month, the Plus definitely won. But I'm not, like I said, I'm aware that when you get these boxes, you are testing things out, you're trying new things, you're trying to figure out if it's something that you will use, if you will like it, playing around with new colors. I usually get palettes that I will keep. This is the first time I've had a box that was almost a complete failure from them. So, not gonna be unhappy, just not happy, if that makes sense. That is it for the day, and if you've liked what you've seen and you're not subscribed, I hope you will subscribe. If you do subscribe, please hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. I currently upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I do upload bonus videos. If you're part of my notification squad, please check your bell and your subscription to make sure they're both still active. And if you choose not to subscribe, well, I would understand because I am not everybody's cup of tea. But we would love to have you back here because we love having company. And if you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. Alrighty, so this has actually cooled down a bit. So I'm really hoping it tastes good, cooled down a bit. It's not cold, but yeah, it's cooled down quite a bit. Let's give her a taste and skedaddle on out of here. Okay, I have to say I'm really surprised. This is a lot more delicate than I thought it would be. That humming is my fridge. I apologize. The thing is louder than fuck. But anyway. It's a lot more delicate than I thought it would be. I'm not getting a lot of plum. There's a fruitiness to it, but it's more of a mixed fruitiness rather than specifically plum. It is not getting a bitter edge. I'm getting a little bit more of the spices right now. I like it, but it's not a tea I would repurchase in the future, I don't think. Anyway, so that's it. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.